In 2003, I married my high school sweetheart, and we have been married since. We now have three amazing children. And at that point, I decided to shelve the music thing for a while and get a real job and live a more classic life rather than the artist's life since I was getting married. And so since then, I really have put it on the back burner. And most days during that period, I was okay with leaving it behind. I had decided that maybe I wasn't totally cut out to live that life. My personality does not match up very well with being a performing artist. I am incredibly shy, very introverted, um, self conscious, you name it. And so that's always been my struggle, working through the fear of what people will think and whether I have the confidence to actually live this life. So I think my way back has been over many years and very slowly, and I still don't know how far I will end up taking things. So about a year ago, I went to see an ENT about some issues I've been having with my voice while trying to get it back into shape. Lots of pain after singing, some pain in my left ear, sore throat after reading books to my kids, little things like that. And through the lovely camera through the nose, which is lots of fun, he diagnosed that my vocal cords are not shutting completely as they should be, which is causing me to use my throat and other muscles in my neck to compensate for it instead. So at that time, he had recommended I go to get some therapy, speech therapy done, to release the tension, figure out what I'm essentially doing wrong with my voice. So last year, it didn't happen, mostly due to issues in my family, pulling my oldest son out of school to homeschool, and it just wasn't the right time. So now that I've sort of been getting things going again, I thought it might be time to reach out and see if this service would be the right one for me. So I sent them an email and I heard back yesterday, and it's going to be very costly to do it and potentially a big time commitment as well. So I've been mulling it over, thinking that I'm probably going to go ahead and do it. If I want to keep this going, this is going to be the next logical step. So this is, of course, where the fear and the insecurity and the uncertainty all play such a big role, because on good days, I feel like this is what I want to do. And then I have tough days where I think maybe this is crazy trying to get back into doing this sort of thing. So it's another step forward, closer to what I want to be doing. And of course, with every step comes a lot of anxiety and nervousness. And yeah, it's tough, but it's another step in the right direction. See what happens. So I'm not feeling too nervous yet because it's still fairly far away, but it's gonna happen. And I'm probably gonna wish that I didn't make the appointment and be totally scared to go. But I know that I have to do it, and I'm sure it's gonna be fine. And I bet I'm gonna learn a lot about what's been going on with my voice, and hopefully the process to fix it and get it back to where I want it to be isn't going to be too crazy of a process and too long. I'm about 6 days away now from my first vocal therapy appointment, and I will be honest with you, it's been a rough week. And I think I usually am working out, doing vocal workouts about 5 days out of the 7. And this week I don't think I have done any. So partly because of being busy with other things, this week has been just a crazy week. And also because I honestly just haven't felt like it. As I was saying, I haven't told a lot of people because I have moments or weeks like this past week where I think maybe this isn't the time. I know God has a time in mind for me to maybe get back into doing this, and I spent a lot of time doubting whether this is it or I just want it to be it right now. For right now, it's just a matter of holding on, sticking with the decision I made when I was feeling good about it, knowing that I'm probably going to be getting back to that place of feeling confident about it again soon. And yeah, just remembering that it's one step at a time, one step forward, and try not to think too much about the big picture at this point, and just do the next thing is a good way to think about it, I guess. I thought about filming a video yesterday, and then I just didn't have time, but I was definitely feeling very nervous last night. I had butterfly feelings in my stomach, and it was still 24 hours away. Surprisingly, I felt less of that this morning. I think because it was a busy morning, I had lots to get done before the appointment. So yeah, I slept pretty well last night, and lots of praying, and felt as prepared as I could be, I guess. I don't know really what else to say about that. So yeah, you know, I saw the ENT almost exactly a year ago, and now here I am a year later, finally going through with the appointment and the therapy, and it feels good. And I have to say, you know, it was a teachable moment to my kids this morning, because my son, who struggles with anxiety and OCD and fear, this was a perfect excuse to show him that mommy gets worried about things, mommy gets scared of things, and I'm going to push myself to do it, even though it'd be more comfortable and easier for me to just not follow through with any of this stuff. And I think the fact that they see me doing this, pushing myself to do something that's uncomfortable and hard, is a great example for them in their own lives, even the other kids who don't struggle with things like my oldest with special needs does. So hopefully that will be beneficial. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited about working away at this program. So I think things are moving along, and I have had a few days of oh, just feeling like, what am I doing? I can't do this. You know, those types of just the doubt and a bit of the anxiety. And, you know, a lot of that revolves around how things are going for me at home. I have been homeschooling my oldest son, who was diagnosed with special needs a while ago, for actually to be a year tomorrow. So depending on how his day is, if he's having a hard day, that's when I think to myself, you know, I can't do all of this. I can't do all of it. And when he has a good day, then I think it is going to happen. And so I have to just sort of hang on in those moments, because it does even out a little bit. It is tough, though, on those hard days to think that it's just impossible to be able to deal with everything in those hard moments. I think, you know, the decision I made before I even started doing any of this extra music stuff was that my family has to come first. And that's what's different this time around with the whole music thing. Back when I left, I wasn't even married yet. I was with my husband, but we were obviously just dating at that point. We weren't even engaged. And of course, no kids. I was still living at home with my parents, and it was a totally different life. And so now I have all of these other responsibilities, obviously: a husband, 3 children, a house to look after, people to take care of. And so my priorities are different this time around, and it's sort of a balancing and juggling act of um, finding the time to get everything done. So bottom line is, my family and my kids come first. So on those tough days, whether my son's having a tough day or, you know, something else is happening at home, those are the times I need to just sort of shelve the music thing for the day, you know, or however long it's going to take. I think that whole thing is just a learning curve, because it is different this time around. And on one hand, it's sort of hard to think. I have all these other extra things to think of when I just want to go hard at the music thing. But at the same time, I'm sort of glad that it's a little bit different, because when I left music the first time, I wasn't happy at the end. So to have it be different than that is probably a good thing.
I've been spending a lot of time the last couple weeks really starting to think about direction and, going on the hope and the faith that I am going to be able to get my voice back into shape. Well, what do I want to do next? What's my plan? And so I've been really zeroing in on writing a lot more and totally carving in, even 10 or 15 minutes a day to really focus in on that, along with studying just the art of songwriting. There's a few books that I'm reading about. One just talks about great songwriters, one is about the method of songwriting. So making time for both of those things each day. I've actually been waking up earlier in the morning, which sucks, let's face it. I feel like I have to then go to bed earlier, which I don't know if I'm actually spending any more time in the end. I feel like I have a window of opportunity, and whether it starts earlier or ends later, it's a certain amount of hours that I've got to work with. So the nice thing about waking up early in the morning before the kids and everybody is up, I have some quiet time to do some devotionals, start out the day, which makes such a difference, the right way, starting the day the right way, and having some time that's quiet in the house for writing, because that is necessary for me to be creative in any sort of fashion. So that's been a good thing. I was reading Tom Jackson there. He is a performance coach who specializes in helping artists get their stage presence and basically how to put on a show. So I've been reading his blog a bit, and I found an old video of his. He was going through an article online about all the things necessary basically to do as an artist. And he started talking about how when he was younger, he didn't have a backup plan. He said, I wasn't going to fall back on going to college if this didn't work, or getting a real job, which, so many artists are faced with that, either continuing to work a real job at the same time as music stuff, or, there's no guarantee in this lifestyle. I think the most common, everybody knows that's common knowledge. But most people do end up having a backup plan. And anyway, his video was basically saying that all the people that were sort of coming up at the same time as he was, everyone else had a backup plan. And essentially, when things got hard, all of those people ended up reverting to the backup plan. And he did not, and he is still here today for, I don't know how many years it is that he's been doing it. But so how this relates to me in this whole big thing was that, part of my problem is that I have been trying to have a backup plan. That's just basically it. That if it doesn't work out, what am I going to do? What am I going to say to people? It just sort of, explain it to my husband, like always keeping the back door open. Yes, I'm going to be willing to take this next step, or yes, I'm going to do this, but if I have to get out of it, this is how I'm going to get out of it. So I felt like that video was very timely about, going all in and committing 100% to doing it. Some of these days I've been doing these exercises at 11 o'clock at night in the dark, right before I go to bed. But I think for me, in any area of my life, if I've made a decision to do something, I'm pretty stubborn about it when I've made my mind up about it. So despite the doubting half of things and the anxiety about it, I definitely want to give this my full shot, because I feel like it's now or never.